time to join us for our Government Service Center portal webinar. My name is Connie Taylor. I'm the Director of Client Relations. I've been with Avenue probably for about 24 years. And then leading our webinar today is Lori Parsons. She's our Client Relations Manager. So thank you, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to do a overview of our government services. If you need a more detailed or personalized session, please contact us at client support at avenueinsights.com, and we can set that up. That's not a problem. We'll be glad to do that because I know it's a lot, and this is just going to be a high-level overview. So we'll get started this morning. If you would go to our main page, avenueinsights.com, and then you would start with our client login, that would take you directly to our Government Service Center login page. And I'm going to switch just because I'm going to be in a test environment this morning. On our main page here, you'll see several things that in the top right-hand corner, there's a Contact Us. If you click that, that will open up your email browser, and then you can send us an email, and that will automatically enter in a ServiceNow ticket for us. And that's a great way to get in contact with us, and then we'll reach back out to you. Also on the main page, the Reset Password button. If you can't remember, you can automatically do your own reset here. If you do that 5 times and you can't, it's going to automatically lock you out. So you'll have to contact us so we can unlock your account and then work with you on your password. When we set you up, originally you're going to receive 2 emails, one with your username. That's normally going to be your email address, and then you'll receive a second email that will contain your temporary password. When you get that second email, it's best just to go ahead and copy and paste that temporary password in because it has a lot of mixed numbers, and we've just found that it works better that way. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my test account. And Connie's going to jump in and help with some extra things that I might not mention, or as she stated, she's got over 20-something years experience, so she knows this like the inside and out of her hands. So,
and also any questions that come over during the webinar, I'm kind of keeping a list, and so towards the end I will review the questions with Lori, and we'll kind of walk through any questions that have popped up.
Sounds great. We're going to start after you've logged in. We're going to start with our Reports tab. And this, we have some new additions and some older edition reports, but we're going to start with the reconciliation summary. And this is one of the most used reports. This is when, like, maybe your auditors are asking for information for your past year, how much your taxes were and how much your fees were. So you could pull it for any amount of time that you want. And if you're doing, we're going to pick like your fiscal year. So you can pick transfer date, or you can pick disbursement date. And sometimes it takes just a little bit for the reports to load.
And this report will match back to the tax types that we administer for you. So if you see some tax types that we don't administer, like Lori said before, this is a sample account. So,
and all our reports are able to be downloaded into different formats: PDF, Excel. So if you need to, I'm gonna try to make this a shorter date and see if that'll help. Okay, so here you can see that it gives you the breakdown of each tax type. It'll tell you how much your net tax due was, your fees, and then how much we transfer to you. And then on these, if you have a printer that is connected to your computer, it would show up here and you could print straight to it. But right here is where you can export it into Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You have several different options there, and that's available for every report. And we're going to go back to your reconciliation detail, and this is what you're going to use to tie back to your bank statements. It gives you the breakdown by date versus an overall amount.
And on this report, as she's entering her search criteria, if you have a beneficiary, or if you have a jurisdiction that has multiple beneficiaries, so if you have a general fund and a Board of Education fund, I'm sure you probably seen this as you've logged in and gone through the reports, but you'll always see the jurisdiction as a whole first, and then you'll see each beneficiary listed after that. So sometimes you'll just kind of have to scroll through, but usually, like I said, you'll see the city or the county as a whole first, and then you'll start to see each beneficiary that we have set up in our system. And at any time, you might do some unique splits yourself, where we might send 100% of your tax revenue into one fund, but then you have to do certain splits. Please know that we can do that. Especially for our county clients and even some of our city clients. We'll transfer, we can, split down. I think we have one jurisdiction where we split their taxes 80 different ways between 16 different beneficiaries. So know that our system can definitely handle that.
So here is the detailed report, and it'll break down. So this was distributed on 10/4, and then it tells you how much for the business license, your consumer use, each tax type that you might have, how much the tax was, and then how much your fees were, and then how much we actually dispersed over. And this is what you would use. It should match your bank statements. Then we're going to start with our detailed summary, detailed payment listing.
And so there's two ways to run the detailed payment listing. We have a detailed payment listing and an expanded detailed payment listing. Lori will cover both. The expanded detailed payment listing is going to have more information on it, but sometimes some of our clients are a little overwhelmed by the amount of information. So the detailed payment listing is going to be more your quick look of who all has remitted in, and it will always match back to your reconciliation reports. Just make sure that you're in the same date range, but it'll show you what all taxpayers or businesses make up your disbursement or your range of disbursements.
And you can also pick if you want it to include all the tax types that we collect for, or if you want to just select a certain one. And then if we do audit for you, you can select whether it's just audit or admin or both together. For this, we're just going to select admin. That would be just what the taxes are that are paid in. And normally it would not take this long to load. I think just we're in a test environment and it's taken a little bit longer. So here's your payments, and it would break down by your tax types. It would then give you the detail as far as who the account was, how much the tax due was, and how much was paid. And this is, then we're going to go to the expanded detail, which will give you more information, like Connie was saying. It will also show like the postmark, the date we entered it into the system. It can separate discount and penalties, So it just gives you a much more
Gives you more information, yeah, on those payments. And these two reports, if you do export them, they export best into a CSV file. You can do Excel or CSV. Sometimes Excel likes to group some of the headers and merge cells, where the CSV is going to be cleaner if you're trying to do any kind of analysis, or if you're wanting to, insert a pivot table. CSV is the best route to go. And on this one, just like the detailed payment listing, same search criteria. You can enter your start date, your end date. So if you want to run it for a day, a week, a month, a year, just know that if you do run it for a year, it'll take a little bit longer to run. You can also pick and choose tax types. So we might administer business license, sales use, rental, and lodging, but you only want to pull this for your sales tax remitters. You can do that. You can run it by type of revenue. So you have audit, admin, or both. So I want to say for the majority of our clients, we do both audit and admin for. A lot of times, especially if you're working on any type of comparisons versus just seeing who all's remitted for a transfer date, if you're doing a comparison, a lot of times our clients like to use admin only revenue because, audit's not guaranteed. We could audit a business and then not audit them for 3 or 5 or 10, more years. So that's not guaranteed revenue. So just kind of things to keep in mind as you're, using these reports for any kind of economic development or anything like that.
One of the newest features we just recently added was it includes the NAICS code on this report and the NAICS description. And a lot of people want to use that if they download it so they can, find out maybe how many, convenience stores or different things like that. So that's a great new feature that we've added.
And NAICS, I'm sure most people are familiar with that. That's for the North American Industry Classification System. A lot of business licenses are, generated based on NAICS code. So we try to capture as many of those as we can. It's a required field for certain online file and pays or our online file and pays. And then we're also reaching out to businesses if, for whatever reason, their account does not have that on it. So we definitely try to gather that information because I know a lot of y'all use that for other, departments or even as your own analysis.
Now we're going to go to the dashboard. And a great way to think of this is it's like the dashboard of your car. It kind of gives you an overview of what's going on.
Now we do recommend with the dashboard, Lori's going to run it for a shorter period of time. But because the dashboard is pulling so much information, it does take a little bit longer to run because it's pulling from different areas in our system to show the reports or display the reports. But with the dashboard, a lot of clients like to run it, maybe fiscal year to date or for an entire fiscal year. But I definitely run it for longer than just a month. And if any time you enter a date range wrong or you enter wrong criteria, as you'll see, Lori, the system will let you know that something's not quite right. But you can also run this by tax type. So if you only wanted to run your analysis for sales and use or sales use, lodging, rental, maybe, you can pick and choose those as well as the type of revenue.
Okay, so and another thing is if you needed something that did not show who the actual tax payer was, you wanted to see something for like your city council, we can run that internally that would say taxpayer 1, taxpayer 2, and break it down that way also.
We call it a name dashboard. I'm sorry, Lori. Yeah, and like Lori said, we're working on getting this enhancement online. But if you email just client support, and you can even email us from the portal. I think Lori showed that earlier. At the top right column or the top right of your report screen, anytime you need anything, click on that, and we can get this run for you quickly.
So down here where it says Walmart, it could say taxpayer 1, taxpayer 2, so you wouldn't give out the information. It gives you the top 5 business classifications, the taxes by type, your top 5 business showing net most growth in taxes, taxes by tax rate. And like Connie said, if you do it for a longer period of time, then you're going to have a lot more data there. So this is a great thing to just give an overview quickly of your top 5. Now we're going to go to the history and trends report. And then you can pick your report year, your report month, your fiscal year month. And so it's going to give you a breakdown of your different taxes, the current amount, prior amount, the amount of change, and the percentage. And then you can.
And each grouping on here, it's going to take what is it for Lori? The first thing I can't read it, your current month and compare it to the prior month.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's going to take current month, compare it to the same month 1 year ago. And we like to display this different because a lot of times you might think, oh, I'm down $5,000 from last month. But it's also good to look at where you were that same month last year, because it could be a quarter end month or a year end month, or a month that you might just always have higher sales. So that's why we like to kind of display this different ways.
And you can make it where it breaks it down with your business license, the issuance fee, late fees, the license fee, or you can just leave it where it's just the overall for the total amount.
Yeah, and it expands by rate type as well. So it might be that your sales tax is up or down, and you want to see, oh, okay, well, is it my automotive sales or my general or my manufacturing? That's why when you expand that, it'll kind of drill down. And if you have a police jurisdiction, it'll even, break it down that much. So you can see that.
Okay, next we're going to go to pending payments. And this is a live update, so it's constantly changing. So you might look at it now and it might have somebody on there, and then come back in 30 minutes and that person's not there anymore. It's just because it's automatically tied to our revenue system and it is updating immediately.
And our disbursements as well. So once we actually disperse these payments, they'll fall off because then they'll be on your detailed payment listing or they'll be under the account search.
Right. Next, we're going to go to the net revenue comparison chart report. And we're going to pick the admin only. And then we're going to pick tax type, and we're going to go ahead and we'll select all. You might just want it for one tax type. That is
and I'm going to touch on this briefly, Lori. So you've noticed on a lot of the reports it'll show a print type. So we do have some counties, we have many of our county clients on where you might have multiple county codes. Chambers, Calhoun, there's a couple of the counties that have multiple codes like that. So we have what we call a parent-child relationship for our counties, even some of our cities that have the multiple state-assigned jurisdiction codes. So if anytime you see that, that's what that's for. If it doesn't pertain to you, I think it defaults to combined. You can leave it on combined. You're going to receive the same information either way if you do not have a parent-child jurisdiction. But for any of our clients that do, you can run this for parent, that'll show all of the jurisdictions, or you can, run it for just the child or the ungrouped. Sometimes it might say ungrouped, sometimes it might say child, but the ungrouked's just going to show that one certain area or that one certain jurisdiction code.
Okay. Next, we're going to go to new taxpayers. And this might be where you just want to see, how many new taxpayers we had for the last 30 days or, the last year. So we're going to run it for just 1 month.
And this is a good report too. I know we have some of our clients that we might not administer the business license. Y'all might handle that in-house. So if you do handle that in-house, it would be good to run this report to see any new accounts that we've set up to make sure that they do have a license.
Okay, so it's going to give each individual taxpayer, it's going to give their account number, the address. It's going to give all the information that you would need. It's going to tell what the tax type is that they set up, and what period, and if they paid anything for the.
And this will show if there's an initial payment made on that search criteria you entered. So if you've entered this for a month, it's going to show any payments that have come in during that month for that taxpayer. So the broader the date range you enter, it might come back with more records. That's why some of this, you'll see there's multiple records on here. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're running it. They normally take 10, 15 seconds, of course, which it sounds like it's longer when you're on a demo. But it should also include the FEIN and contact information. So if you want to call that business, or email or mail them.
Next, we're going to go to top remitters. This would be a good one to, if you needed to see how many, who your top people are. We also have it where you can do top remitter decreases and top remitter increases.
And these, like Lori was saying, these are good reports to run, especially if you feel like 1 month, if we, like I said, if we administer multiple tax types and maybe your sales tax is way up, but your use tax might be way down. You can, when you run these reports, of course, they're definitely generated off of a date range that you enter as well as tax type. So you could run this just for your consumer's use tax or your seller's use tax, or you could run it for all tax types. Either way.
Okay, we're going to just select 1 month. It cuts down on the processing time here. You can select any date range that you want. You can select also by the net sales or net tax paid. You can select up to 100. 35 is a great fit. It fits on your one sheet. 8.5 by 11 sheet, and that's usually about what you want to see anyway. That's going to be your top producers. You can also break it down by tax type, if you want individual or if you want all of them. And right there it shows you, since I didn't select any, it's going to give you an error. That's the great thing about this. If you don't select it, it's going to let you know.
Mm-hmm. And one thing too, some of these reports, like we said earlier, might take a little time to load. I've learned personally from our IT department, if you click too much, the system might bog down because it's trying to load each page. So every time you click, it's reloading. So just a little tip there. We've all done it. Trust me. But yeah, sometimes if you have any kind of lag, it might be from clicking, on too many different report options or report screens and not waiting.
And also I mentioned that it goes up to 100. If you needed more than 100, if you would contact us, we could run it internally for more than 100. So just know that that's an option. So it's going to give you the taxpayer account number, the taxpayer name, if it has to do business as, your NAICS code, your tax type description, your rate code description, the current year amount, your prior year amount, the change, and the net change percent. And then it's going to do it in order of your top 35. So this is a great report if you're wanting to look and see who your top, taxpayers are. And if you wanted to know, it runs the same way to do if it's for decreases or increases. If you're wanting to see, hey, my sales are down in a certain area, maybe a certain taxpayer, is doing as well this year as they were last year. That's a good way to look at it. Now, payment search. If you're trying to find a certain payment and just you can't find it, and I think I already picked one, so I know it would pull up, was you can do the report and it'll show you who the taxpayers were. You can click on that. Then anytime something's in blue like that, if you click on it, then it'll take you to the account, which we'll be going straight into next. So this is a great way to start. And that takes you to that account information. And we're going to show you, so you're going to get to this the same way if you go up to account search. And on the account search page, you can, if you knew the account number, or you knew their name, or their address, or if you weren't real sure, you could, put partial in there, and then it's going to pull up all the different accounts. Also on this page, if you have the option to do create taxpayer, this is where you can actually have a taxpayer added in. Say they come into the office and they're wanting to set up their account, then you can do that right here. So we're going to look for an account that I already have set up. So we're looking up, and this is Reynolds LLC, and you'll see it's the same account number, but it has several different lines. But on the different lines, it could be that they have different physical addresses. It's going to come up with their mailing address. If you wanted to click on the number, then that brings you back to their overall, and it's going to give you their the name, their address, and this is, you can actually edit some of the fields here. Say they had a mailing address change, you can actually update that yourself. And if they had like I'm sorry, timeout. Okay, we'll go through each tab to show you, like you could have additional information like the schedules that are for your business license. You could have who your contacts are for this company. And the next tab is the liabilities, and that's going to show what tax types are set up for that account. So this one has a business license, they have sales tax and rental tax. And it's also going to show you the start date. If you know that they have gone out of business, you're actually able to edit this screen, and you can put that stop date in there yourself. And then that would get them from stopping to receive delinquent letters or any tax that would be due in the future. Then now to locations. Say that they had multiple physical locations, then it would show here what the different locations are. They could, have 3 or 4 different locations.
And this is more for our business license clients where we administer business license. So we can tie that license back to a specific location. We can also do this for sales and use, but as you know, sales and use is paid by FEIN and grouped together. But we'll definitely display as much information as we have. And like Lori was saying, this is a view into our system. So this is where you're able to kind of see how we have the account set up in our system. And then anything that's editable, then you actually have that option to edit those fields.
And this actually gives you an overview of the different licenses that was issued to that account, the years, the amount, and when it was issued also. And then if you click on the license number, that will actually give you the information as far as the postmark date and the schedule. So you could then click on the schedule here, and then that will give you a detail of what that person applied for and was issued their license on. Okay, so for BL delinquencies, it's going to show if they had any delinquency reports there, and it looks like this one had one in every year.
Yeah, and this is a newer feature. We're very close to turning the delinquencies, it's the BL delinquencies and tax delinquencies on. It's in our QA, so we wanted to show you this because it's something that will be coming very, very soon.
Okay, we're going to click over to notes. This is if you have any kind of note, like maybe the taxpayer contacted you and they close the account, want to close the account. You could come in here. If you close the account, make a note on it. And you can actually see any notes that we're making in the at Avenue on the taxpayer, and then we could see any notes that you're making also, because this feeds straight into our system.
Lori, do you want to put maybe like a test note in just so they kind of see how it shows down below?
So you can pick, whether it's like a tax admin, an audit, a business license category, or other. If it's just, say that the business called and they wanted closed. So when you add that, then it automatically it tells who added the note, the date, and the time, and what the note was. Next, on taxpayer documents, this is you can add a document to it. Say they brought in something to the office that needed to be uploaded, a new certification, or change of address, and they gave you an official letter. You could add that document here. Anything that's added in our system on our side is also viewable here. Next is the payment history. And this actually gives you the breakdown of everything that account has made, the post date, the check amount, what it was for, how it came in, their gross sales, deductions, discount penalties, the net tax, and actually the date that it was disbursed to you. And then it will give you the total of what they paid, for the entire time. Now we're going to go over to business approval. And this is if you've set up you want to approve all new businesses in your area, or you want to certain ones that have need certification or permits from your inspections or whatever, then they would be listed here, and you would be able to go in and review that and approve those here.
And we do all of that during the requirements gathering. So once we bring on a new client, we kind of walk through what do you want to view before, it's released. So it's not going to be necessarily anything that's on hold. It's just going to be ones that we've discussed. If at any time you want to reach out to our client support and say, hey, what holds do I have? We could kind of review those with you, or have someone from our project implementation team walk through that with you. Because we've had some clients that, for years, they only wanted us to hold new licenses for them to review, and some don't. So please reach out to us if you have any questions on business approval.
Okay. Document upload. This is where if there are any documents in there, you can see them, or you can add them here.
Yeah, and Lori had showed you the document upload earlier on the taxpayer level. This document upload can be more jurisdiction level. If you maybe have an ordinance where you've changed a rate, increased, decreased, or if you're a business license client, you needed to change. Maybe you want to change your issuance fee. Maybe you're still one of those that have a lower rate. You're wanting to change it. Any kind of official documents like that. Of course, you can always email them to client support, but some of our clients we found like to upload them here as well.
So you would come to your account search option. You could put in their account number if you know that, and then you would come over if it's a license for a business license, or if they're paying for tax. And we're going to select tax.
And please know the license option's only going to display if we administer the license for you. I think everybody knows that, but I just kind of wanted to specify that's customized to what tax or licenses we administer for.
So you would pick the tax type that they're paying. If they're paying sales tax, they're paying alcohol, beer, wine, or whatever, whichever tax they're paying.
And the taxes won't probably be as frequent as maybe some of the licenses for our clients. But we have the tax option on here because a lot of times you might have someone walk into City Hall and they're just adamant they want to pay cash and, pay there. But we do have the option on here, and Lori will show you in a minute. There's payment types where you can enter cash, check, or credit card. But we wanted to give you the capability to post any direct pays. Of course, you can always forward any payment information you've received to Avenue. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. But we've had a lot of clients say, hey, we want to post things here, deposit them here at City Hall, and have a way to send this back. So once these are posted through the Government Service Center portal, they write back to our system of record. We're reconciling these daily. They'll show up in your direct pay section on your reports, but you do have the capability to do this. And business licenses works the same way. Lori will go through those in a minute. But it's going to be payments that you receive, deposit there, and you're wanting to get the information over for the system of record.
Also, you can change it if they're, filing for a past filing period. You would change that to what filing period. When you do that, then it would adjust if they had penalties. And this is where Connie was talking about. You can select whether it's cash, check, or credit card there.
And change that postmark date, Lori, maybe to a late period, just to kind of show them how. I think it's going to make you reset, but or maybe you can change the period versus the postmark, whatever you need to do to just make it late so they can see that the discount will not be allowed, and then the penalties and interest apply. Because our system's built, and knows every interest penalty for every tax type, every license. So everything's configured already.
There we go. So once you change the date here, you'll have to re-enter everything. So we'll just quickly pick something just to show you. So then that shows you what your penalty was. It took off your discount, the net tax due, and then you can select how it was paid. And we'll just put that it was a check. And then if you needed to upload any documents, say they had a paper copy that you wanted to upload, you could do that here also. So you want to accept and add to the next payment. So then that just shows you what you just did. And then you're going to hit submit. And then we're going to do, this is if you wanted to print out a receipt for them to give them, or if you wanted to print that out for your own records, you can do that also. So then after you've made those payments in-house, you're going to come over to the reconciliation tab. You can reconciliation however you want to set it up, whether it's daily, weekly, after you do it. That's strictly up to you how you decide to do that. It might be that you have one person that enters in the payments, and then you have another person that does the reconciliations. That is strictly how you decide in-house. You're going to come over to the reconciliation tab, and here is the payment that we just did for the rentals. So you're going to select that, and it will show you how much the tax due was. And so if everything looks good, then you would
expand it too, Lori, if you want to expand it real quick to kind of show them.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Just it kind of helps to expand it sometimes, especially if you've entered multiple payments in.
Okay.
You'll see there's also an option for a receipt. So if you forgot to print the receipt, or you just wanted to print another receipt, you can do that at any time.
And it could be that you want to keep the receipts if you're doing the reconciliation versus you took the payment in. So then you would hit reconcile selected. And that also gives you a copy of where you reconcile and so you can print that if you need a copy for you.
And we, like we said earlier, we have the reconciliation separate because when we had clients that requested this, they also wanted the reconciliation as a separate step. I think that kind of gives them a chance too, in case something was entered in wrong, which it happens. Everyone does it, or even a layered process. So if maybe you have a clerk that's up at the front, at your city or your county, and they're taking the payments, but then you want someone maybe that's more over the money or an accountant to actually reconcile. That's kind of why we have the two-step process.
Okay, if you wanted to go to the user profile, it's going to give you the jurisdiction, what your username is, and what your email address is. If you have a phone number in there, what your title is. It also gives you the option here to reset the password. Say you have a password and you don't really like it and you want to go ahead and change it. This is a way for you to do that also. And something that we didn't mention at the beginning, each jurisdiction can have as many users for the government service portal as they like, and you could have different users have different permissions, and we can handle that. We have a form that we will send you, and that can be sent in to us, or say that you only want somebody to have payments, or you want somebody just to be able to research accounts, and then you decide later that you want to give them full access, then we're able to change that. And we can do that very quickly just by contacting client support.
All right. Well, we've had some questions come in, and since we're kind of getting close to the hour, some of these we've answered, some we haven't. So we'll kind of go through them. The ones we've answered, we'll kind of go through quickly. The ones we haven't, we'll spend a little more time on. Let's see. Can I change my own password? Of course, I see where you've showed them right there. Maybe show them on the sign-in screen where they can do a password reset, because a lot of times they've either locked out or they've forgotten before they've even logged in. So, right, exactly. So right there, you'll be able to click on reset password. Once you click on that, it'll ask you to enter in your username. Don't enter yours in, Lori. I've done this. You actually have to open your email and go through it. But if you enter your email address, whatever your username is, and you hit change password, that prompts our system to send you an email. The email comes from client support, just kind of like when we set up your first account or any type of reset that we've done for you. I would copy and paste the email, copy and paste the password from your email into the password box that first time. And then the system will do that three-step where you enter the temporary again, and then it'll make you enter your new password that you choose and then confirm it. All right. Where can I see delinquencies? I know we went over this, but maybe kind of show them real quick again. Under the account search. You'd be into the account number. And you actually open the account, and it's the two tabs. So this will be on your taxpayer level. So you'll be able to see any business license and sales and use tax delinquencies.
And
all right. One thing that we did not, I know you showed them, Lori, where they were able to post the sales and use. We've had a question about license. One seeing what the license is on hold for, and can they print a license?
Okay, so we're in the account, and this is where if it's a new business, you can check that it's a new business, the start date, if it's in the city limits or outside the city limits, and this is where you can also, if they have an additional location, you need to change that. So you can upload documents from here, you can add notes, you can delete things from here. So this is where you can make a lot of changes to their business license.
Do you want to click on the add button and kind of show them how to walk through posting a payment? There you go.
Okay. So
And the good thing about this system, Lori didn't put if it was inside or outside the city limits. If you've missed any criteria up at the top, it will tell you. So it'll help you out on there. Let's see. So you always have to pick a physical location, and that's where some accounts might have multiple physical locations. This one only had one.
And the great thing is if you don't select it, it's going to let you know that.
Exactly.
So this is where you go in and you're going to select which schedule. And the schedules are set up when we first set the jurisdiction up from the criteria that you give us. Some jurisdictions might have hundreds of different schedules. Some jurisdictions might only have, a few. It's strictly how you want it set up when we first do it. So you can tell this one has a lot. So we're just going to pick an accountant.
And the great thing is you can enter any type of keyword and it'll show any possible matches. Try to make this as easy as possible for you.
So we're just going to select that and add the schedule. And then it's going to give you the schedule number. They're going to tell you what the gross receipts are. And then that is going to be where it will calculate what your license fee is going to be.
Actually, go back and hit add Lori on there. That was sometimes when you go through a little too fast. I was going to show them where, go back. There you go. Add. Type in the gross receipts and then hit tab or enter. Okay, there you go. See how it's kind of calculated the fee? So it's going to know if your schedule, based on how your schedule is set up, if it's based off gross receipts, if it's based off number of units, that'll be the first criteria you enter. And then it'll show you the license fee, issuance fee. See how it also shows penalty. So if this is posted late, so this license, was due back in January, but it was posted today. So that's where the penalty and everything comes in.
So say that you made an error on the first one, and you can go in and then delete that. Would be helpful if you highlighted it.
Like Lori said, if you miss something, it's definitely going to tell you. So
that's the wonderful thing. So once you figured it out, say you decided that it needed to be, a temporary business license or an annual. It could be that you have quarter or anniversary. It's all depend on, what your filing period is. You can then select, if it's cash, check, or credit card there. And then you would hit submit. And I can't
confirm, the amount, which is a good thing too, because sometimes, it might be a key.
This would give you your business license receipt. Sometimes people might need an actual copy of just the receipt so they can, show somebody that they've already applied for the business license.
And tell them that this acts as a temporary license, but it's pending that, everything's been received. So if it's, a restaurant and we don't have the health department permit, of course, that means that, it's pending that health department permit to be received. But this will at least give you, like Lori said, either the receipt, or if you want to treat this as a temporary license, that you're able to print out and give that business until we can get that payment moved over into our system. And then we can actually have the actual license go out to the business.
Okay.
All right, so that covers the print the license. We're working on the capability to actually be able to print licenses for like ones that we've issued. That's one of the coming soon things. But anything that you post on the portal, you'll have that receipt that you can print. Let's see, you went over updating an account. Did you actually click on and show them how to create an account? That would probably just be the last thing that we cover.
You're going to create a taxpayer?
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. I always search first because the taxpayer might be set up in our system. You don't ever know, but I'd always search first, unless they're brand new and they're a brand new business. But yeah, like Lori said, search and then you can click on that create taxpayer. If you do not have that create taxpayer on your view when you log in, please reach out to client support. as well as these other features. If you want to be able to post business licenses, but you don't see that license tab, please reach out to our client support group. These are permissions that we're easily able to click on and off quickly, so we can get you set up for anything.
And this is where you would put, their account name. You would collect what business, their start date, physical address, mailing address, contact information, anything about the business that you have, you're going to want to put in here. That definitely will help us, if we need to contact them as far as delinquencies, renewal notices, or anything like that. The more information is better.
Walk them through this page, Lori, because I want them to see how they'll add the liabilities. Yeah. And a lot of the fields are not required. So the good thing is the system will tell you, most, of course, we'll need the federal ID, business name, DBA, mailing and physical address. For contact name, you're not always going to have all of this information. So please don't be overwhelmed when you see it. If you're able to get it, great. If you're not able to get all that information, no problem. We do require a NAIC field because as you notice from some of the reports, we show the NAIC information, and that way you're able to run reports and export. So that's why we want to make that a required field.
If you don't know what it is, there's the option there that will help you select it.
Right. So if you want to type in accountant, anything that matches accountant will display. All right. So you have your physical, you have your mailing, and you have your start date. All right, I think you're good. Like we said, if there's something that's missed, the great thing, it'll pop up.
State code.
Yeah. So she entered her address, but failed to put the state. So all right, so now the liability screen pops up. So this is where you'll be able to add any liabilities to the account. So if you know that they're going to have sales tax general or business license, you can go and pick and choose the tax types. This will mirror back to either what we administer for. If you see some that we don't administer, sometimes the audit might come over, but you'll definitely have anything that we administer for pop up. And the good thing about this field is it tells you what's required, in order to continue. You need to make sure you have a start date. You always have to have a filing frequency because we need to know if it's annual, physical, quarterly, if it's occasional. So that's kind of popping up and telling Lori what she has to add.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to put a start date for each of those liabilities. I know you put an account start date, but you also need to put that start date on that liability because that's what triggers our delinquency process. And that's what triggers us sending out notifications if we don't have a filing. So she selected sales tax general. She has her start date of July the 1st. She selected monthly. And then at this point, right, she's going to save changes. You can preview the changes if you want to preview them. When you hit save, if everything's correct, then you'll see at the top how it says the taxpayer account number and the name. So you can jot that down. And then at that point, you can actually go back into the account search and you can see that taxpayer. So especially if they're setting up and they want to have their new account and they want to purchase a license right there at City Hall, you can set up that taxpayer, get that account number, go back in, and then you click on the license tab and you post a business license for them. Well, I think that's our time for today. We appreciate everyone logging in and taking time to go through the Government Service Center, the functionality. I know we weren't able to get to all the questions. We're trying to hit the highlights or the most commonly asked questions. If at any time you feel like you need more training, I totally understand. It's a lot of information to digest. Please reach out to client support and we'll set you up with one-on-one, one of our representatives. We'll reach out to you and set up like a webinar or like a Teams call where we go through your questions specifically, because I know you might not need to review some of the reports, but you want to do some of the newer features. So we can definitely set that up. Thank you, everyone. Hope everybody has a good day.
Thank you.